It is June 29th. 1 month to the day that I purchased this 2005 Cadillac STS with only 85,000 miles for $710. If you didn't watch the first video on this car, these 20-year-old Cadillacs are just not worth that much. So in this video, I'm going to take you through maintenance so far and my impressions of daily driving a 20-year-old Cadillac. Stay tuned. So when I purchased this car at the end of May, I purchased it from the daughters of the deceased owners who passed away, sadly, last fall of 2024. So the car had not been used in the past couple of years, and in fact, since he passed away in last fall, the car had basically been sitting in the driveway since I first saw it, I think in Thanksgiving of 24. In the past month, I've put 3,000 miles on this car. I'm using it as my daily driver, and a little more than 1,200 miles of that 3,000 was Father's Day weekend to visit my daughter and my son-in-law in the middle of June. Sure enough, even though the battery was only 2 years old, it was not holding a charge. I buy my batteries at Costco. It's an interstate battery. And I think it was 2 days after I bought the car, I went over there and picked up a battery for $120. The original equipment battery is an odd size, and you have to special order it. But check the Cadillac forums, and they confirm that there's a more standard size battery that you can use, roughly the same cold cranking amps, slightly higher, but it still fits under the hood with the factory cover on it. Unfortunately, I was in the Costco parking lot, changed the battery out there, pretty straightforward process. The daughters mentioned that they had the oil changed, and there was a little sticker above where this camera is right now. But oddly, the oil, for having sat just since November, was black. It just didn't make any sense to me. And so even though the oil monitor said 100,000, I decided, let's roll the bones, take the car down to North Carolina, and if everything's good, I'll change the oil when I get back. And that's exactly what I did. In order to change the oil, I'm blessed with a 4-post lift, and put the car up. It's a pretty straightforward thing. I think it's a 17-millimeter nut on the crankcase. There's no covers underneath, so at least there aren't any covers on my car. And unbolt that and drain. So, having owned several German cars, and Porsches and Audis, it's interesting on this car that they're following German practice. And what I mean by that is, while the drain plug's on the bottom, the oil filter cartridge is actually a paper cartridge that sits on the driver's side of the engine. It's an aluminum casing. You open that up and you take out the paper element. So once I had the oil drain below, I opened up the top. That's another 17-millimeter wrench. And it's nice because you don't spill oil all over the place. It drains into the engine. It's just a matter of taking out the paper element, putting that in, tightening everything up. Oh, and when you buy one of these filters, it's an O-ring that comes with it, just like Volkswagen, Audi, etc. And you replace that O-ring on the aluminum casing, and you're good to go. And sure enough, I've put probably 1,000 miles on the car since I did the oil, and it's clean. The other thing I wanted to mention is I did put 5W30 Mobil 1. That's recommended. It's 6 quarts. And after 1,000 miles, it's still clean. So I'm not going to mention the name of the local shop that they had it done at, but for a car that only had a couple of 100 miles, that had been sitting 6 months, seemed very odd to me how black the oil was. And I had to go to 2 different parts stores because the V6 in the databases, it was the wrong part. So moving forward, I need to take the cartridge with me to show them what I really need. As two different stores were about to give me the wrong filter on the V6. The next thing I wanted to check were the other filters. I wanted to replace the cabin filter, and that is located on the passenger side, just under the hood on the firewall. That's a couple Torx screws. I think there's 4 of them that you have to unscrew. The ventilation plate that's just under the hood at the firewall, you take that off on the passenger side. And then there's another bracket underneath that. You unclip 2 clips on that, and then you're able to pull out the old cabin air filter. And sure enough, I'm glad I did, because that cabin filter was quite filthy and had not been changed in a while. So we've got that. I've got fresh air in here. Finally, I moved on to the air filter. And that is located on the driver's side. You have to remove one of the acoustic plates, the decorative plates. And as soon as you do that, that gives you access to the air filter housing. And it's 2 screws plus a couple of bolts. Just needed to loosen the screws to split the top from the bottom. Did that, and then found that 2 other bolts had to be loosened to get enough clearance to open that up and be able to pull out the cartridge. Sure enough, when I pulled out the cartridge, it looked brand new. So I guess when they took it to the unnamed mechanic, they replaced the air filter at that point. I did pull a Carfax before I bought this car, and it noted about 18 months to 2 years ago the fuel filter was replaced. So I'm good with that right now, and no issues to report there. So I got fresh oil in the car, a new battery, fresh filters. She's running well. People that know me, I can't stand having dealer stickers or plates on the trunk of the car. You want to pay me to advertise for you, so be it, but otherwise I'm taking them off. This one had the original dealer sticker on it, affixed to the driver's side of the trunk. If you've ever wanted to debadge your car, the way to do it is you use dental floss, and you get behind the badge. Most of them are held with adhesives now, and sure enough, this was no exception. You take the dental floss and slowly saw through the rubber adhesive, and then it's a matter of I use 3M heavy-duty adhesive remover designed just for that type of adhesive, and you have to take it off in layers. I use a plastic trim tool to scrape it off as much as I can after the adhesive remover soaks in, and after about 2 or 3 times of doing that, everything came off. After that, I was using some P21S paint cleanser to blend in the area on the trunk where that was left over from the dealer badge. I don't show it, but I did the same process on the other side for the STS factory badge. Just thought I would take it off, and I'll leave the Cadillac emblem is integral to the third brake light, so decided just to leave it that way. So with the maintenance all up to date, my impressions of the car, 3,000 miles, very quiet car. The windows are double paned and very quiet. The climate control is only GM knows how, cold air, and the seats are heated and vented. I'm in the middle of summer here, so I'm using the cooling fans in the seats, and it's a wonderful experience. First car I've ever had with cooling seats, so very nice, especially with the weather. So the cooling seats are very nice, especially with leather fabric, which I have to say is a very nice and soft leather. It's not the typical leather that's almost like a vinyl that companies are using now. So this car features the $8,000 1SC option package, and that gave the original owner the 6 CD changer, the nav screen, and in the console here is a AV plug-in. So my fear was, well, it does have Bluetooth. The car's new enough that it has Bluetooth. That's only for the phone. The audio system, you have to manually plug it in. So I bought a converter on Amazon. Put a link in the description. It's a nice little unit that Bluetooths through the AV ports in the center console to the radio. So I'm able to play everything from my phone through the factory radio. And this is a factory Bose system with 15 speakers. In fact, right behind me on either side of the headrests on the front are speakers. So it's a very full sound. And at my age, I'm very pleased with it. So that little adapter was $20. Certainly beats having to rip out the dash and put in a whole factory radio, which is not something I want to do on a $700 car. What we noticed, though, is as much as I like to heat it in cooled seats, and generally under 2 hours are comfortable seats, but both myself and my wife noticed that after about 2 hours, the cushions on these front seats are very hard, and our tailbones were hurting on a long trip. So I'm going to look at some sort of cushion. I'm guessing the trade-off to having the cooled seats is there's not a lot of room for padding, and that's why they're uncomfortable. I thought it was $230 right now, but then when my Nurse Nancy it was more than half my weight, was complaining about the seats. That's when I knew that's probably the likely issue. The other thing about changing out the factory radio is when you do that, you lose the monitoring system that's in the dash here, and that provides the air pressures, trip odometer, fuel economy. So my understanding is you'd lose that functionality. So it's just, I'm glad I came up with an economical solution. This is a rear-wheel drive car, nice handling. The V6 is decent enough on power. It keeps up with highway traffic. And it's just a little bit, when you get up to about 4,000 RPM, it's a very noisy engine. So I just like to keep it around 70 on the highway. And it's just a very comfortable car to drive. One of the things I'm not impressed with is the shifter. It feels very tinny, and it makes a very cheap sound when you engage it. And I've watched a couple other videos on these cars, and you can hear that sound when people are working on their cars. So all in right now, let's call it 300 with tax. I've put 3,000 miles on the car without issue. The one thing I noticed on this car the other day is the check engine light flashed when I passed somebody at highway speeds. Hasn't done it any other time. And so I have a feeling it's the 87 octane I used. And so I'm about to go fill it up. This time I'm going to put premium, and I'm going to test the same thing tomorrow on my commute, see what happens. So what's next with the car? Well, mechanically, I'm all up to date on everything. The tires are 6.5 years old, and the tire monitoring system, the transmitters, 3 of the 4 are not working currently. I tried using the reset procedure in the manual. That did not work. My hunch is they're solar. You know, with the tires being 6.5 years old, you should replace them after 6 years. That's generally recommended. I'm going to push it to the fall and see what happens then. So knowing that the car mechanically is working well, I'm going to maybe splurge a little bit and fix a couple of cosmetic issues. The rocker panel on the driver's side was scraped at some point. It's the rocker panel molding, and they do not offer that anymore in a replacement part, so I would have to buy used. So future video, I'm going to repair the rocker panel molding on the driver's side. I have paint on order, the correct Ming Blue paint. The front air dam is another one that must have hit something. He's got a piece of black tape on it. and is chipped. I'm going to take a look at that at some point and plastic weld that back together, bondo it up, and get that painted. And really the car will be looking like a very nice 20-year-old, much newer than a 20-year-old car. So anyway, that's the latest on my first month of ownership of a $710 hoopty. It's quite a nice hoopty if you're going to have to drive one. If you enjoyed this video, at a minimum, please press the like button. And if you haven't done so, I would ask you to consider subscribing. It costs you nothing to do, and it helps the channel. In addition to the likes and commenting, subscribing helps grow the channel. As approximately only 8% of the viewers, even though I just surpassed 4,300 subscribers as I do this video, that only represents about 7% of my viewership. So thanks for watching. Get out there and drive. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching this video. Please press the like and subscribe button, comment below, and be sure to check out our other videos on this subject, as well as all of the great content on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, you can call me at the number listed below, or be sure to check out our main website, guyswithrides.com.